Yes, here we go. Big shout out to my subscribers. We're getting a little bit of traction. We're going to keep it going. So, just to give you some background on where we're at in the process, if you want to jump in now, if you came in late, is we're starting from the top of the league. We're trying to get a general topography of how MLB looked last year, and then we're trying to tweak it and move our players around to get the topography of how the MLB is going to come out this year. And this approach is different than what you're going to find in other places. Right now, podcasts are rolling through their positional updates, their first base, their second base, their catcher. It's taken them a little time to get to their SP. But I don't wait for SP. I don't wait for starting pitching. We've got to figure out where these players are in relation to the top hitters. And so in my last two videos, I'm about 24 hitters deep that I know are just locks. And I go, it's time to jump over and see who the aces are and start to kind of fit these in, who I'd prefer to get. So we're going to keep going with starting pitching today. I'm looking at 16 guys. I wasn't going to say, hey, there's only 5 aces. I'm going to let the league tell me how many aces are there. And I've got a group of guys, and since it's pitching, everybody has kind of their problems. They have their upside and how things could go, but then they have their volatility. So I'm not going to get as far into the stats. You can see the K to B percentage, the XFIPs, the numbers, the Sierras. These guys are all top-notch. And I'm going to kind of break down a little bit of their history, a little bit of where I think they're going this season. But before we get started, because we are getting ready for auction draft strategy, I thought of an important auction draft strategy that we should touch on today. And it's kind of a two-part approach. The first part is starting bid. So starting bid is important because, as you know, if you've done an auction, or maybe not, guys will typically bid $1 more, $1 more, $1 more. And everybody's just kind of doing $1, and then as the price gets up, you're going to see, it slows down a little bit. So one of the keys, I think, is when you're getting down towards the end of your stack. Let's say you've got, this is basic, you've got 5 players left, room for 5 players, and you've got $25. You're a $5 per player guy at that point. Anything over 5 is an overpay, and you should kind of be watching what your average price per player is as you're getting further down into the draft. So if a guy goes for 10, now you've just committed to your last guy as a $1 player. You're going to go 10, and you still got 5s. So that kind of gives you a range of what to spend at the end. So my thing is this, as you're getting down towards players and you want to keep extracting cash from other teams, throw guys in for the maximum that you'd pay. As I get down to small stack and I see guys going for 14, 16, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. At this point, we should all only be spending about $6 or $7 per player. So as I'm nominating and I see the league is still hungry, there's other people with money out there because I have bought some premium players, I will nominate a guy for what I would maximum pay for him, and then I'm out. And I just watch those guys disappear. But because I started them at 5, let's say I'm down to an average of $8 per player, and I throw a guy in 8. That's my max. Bid. Everybody bids him up by the $1 mark, and now that guy goes for 12 or for 15. And in essence, I'm kind of forcing that overpay a little bit there. So you don't just start for $1. You can start in the beginning of the draft. You're helping the draft move along. So even as I'm commissioning some of these auctions, I see a player come out. Let me go to a different. I'll go to a different sport. I'll go to like LeBron. We're not going to $2 for LeBron. Like, he starts at 30. Let's get it started. Let's not be silly. And then there's chunk betting. So chunk betting, as you're seeing the individual clicks, there's kind of a speed to that. When the value's low, people are just tapping $1 and the price is skyrocketing up. But as it starts to get a little closer, now people are thinking, I'm thinking I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it again. So my move here in the way you're placing your betting is what I call decelerating the bidding. You want the other guy to really have to think and get nervous. Is this too much to pay for? There's somebody else I want. So I will, if I know I want the guy, I will aggressively bid the dollar. That guy bids, I bid. That guy bids, I bid. Snaps, boom, right away. Like, I'm going for him. Shows my aggression. But now, I don't want to keep going with this guy forever. I don't want him to keep running me up. So I just start to slow the pace down. Let the clock run down. Let it run down. I say 5 seconds. Don't get too cute and let it run to 2 or 3. You never know when the website's not going to react. Or your bid doesn't go in, something a little funny with the button, and now you didn't bid and the guy disappears. So don't get too cute with it. But you typically will get that 15 seconds to respond. The other guy will have the high bid. And you let it tick, 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 bid $1. Maybe he bids $1. You'll see that he's starting to question whether he's going to stick in this. This is getting a little high. But I don't want to be aggressively, no doubt, one bidding over my guy and showing my hand because he's going to be able to keep running me up. So decelerate that bidding. And that's going to help you slow down and not get run up too high. I don't know. I think it rattles the other player. He doesn't know. He could go again. If he's just trying to run you up, he goes again, he might get that player. Because I'm signaling that I'm close. I might not bid again. And if he's just bluffing and wants to hang you up, he probably will stop bidding. So start with that accelerated betting to show some aggression, back off and decelerate. And then my last point here is a chunk bid. Sometimes you got to, it's going up kind of slow. 18, 19, 20. You know that this is a $40 player. You know that you're all in on this guy. 19, 20. Go into the auction, type in the value, throw in a 30. You'd go up to 45. Chunk jump, and sometimes that number 30, it just, you can freeze the auction. Oh my gosh, 30? I don't know. Oh, he's real serious. That's too high. And you'll just get left with the guy because you chunk jumped over him. Chunk bid again. 30, someone goes 31, 35. Oh, is this person running me up? Are they serious? They just went up $5. Why weren't they doing the $1, $1, $1? So those are a couple approaches. Now we're going to jump over to starting pitchers. These guys are all aces. I guess in a way I'm going to call them aces 1A, 1B, and 1C. The top of this list, and he's going to go in round 1. I'm going to go hitting because pitching is a little bit volatile. These guys can change from year to year. The other thing you need to know is what they're up against. Batters may take a different approach. You may run into a team that's swinging aggressively. They're chasing first pitches. They're laying off stuff and they're trying to get the pitcher to run up his pitch count. He's not going to go that deep into games. There's a lot of variation from game to game. And after watching tons of pitchers, because you really got to see the guys, you got to see the stuff. There's stuff you can see from watching them pitch that you won't see in the numbers. Like last year, Willie Peralta, you go on Fangraphs, his average fastball velocity said like 92, 93. But he throws, I think, 2 or 3 fastballs, and he can run it up to 96, 97 when he wants to. So he's actually changing velo with the fastball. He's got the really hard stuff. He's got this thing with some run on it. And if you just look at fastball velocity alone, you're only going to see an average that he's only throwing 93. But if you go and watch the games, he can touch 96, 97. So there's a little bit of nuance in there. The other thing is, I'm kind of for strike zone, electronic strike zone, because I cannot take the variation. The umps, every game is a different strike zone. And the guys with control, the pitchers with control, can hit a spot. Was that a strike? Okay. Boop, 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 boop. They'll just keep hitting it. Was that a strike? No. What about there? What about, and they find the umpire zone, and so the control helps them work no matter who the umpire is. Guys without control, they can't pinpoint that spot. They've got hard stuff, but it's got a little movement, it's got a little tail, so it's hard to hit. But when it comes to really hitting spots and knowing the zone, they have a harder time being umpire independent. So umpires they're going to give you that low fastball that a guy doesn't want to go down and get because he's not going to be able to get to it. Or how's the left side of the plate? How's the right side? So the pitchers with control, they're going to have a better chance. at being umpire independent. But the results are going to change from year to year. That's basically what I'm saying. And let's just jump into these guys. The number one pitcher I have here is Max Scherzer. Scherzer, you know about this guy's velocity. He's 5 pitches. People don't know he's just a freak at this point. He's a freak. He's not injured. He goes deep into games. Scherzer's leash is like 130 pitches. I mean, if a guy can only go 90 pitches, now he may be as a 5-inning, 4-inning, 5-inning guy. And then the pen can come in and just blow it. A middle reliever's got to get through the lineup who just got shut down for 5 innings. 6 innings, 7 innings, now they control the game. I just get 2 relievers. This is a win. So Scherzer could just go 9. He's got complete games. All the pitches are plus. All the pitches are plus. Guys are just guessing. He's got hard heat, 94, 95. Curveball, change, slider, they're all there. But he's going to go so expensive because in the drafts, a lot of guys can't find pitching. Pitching isn't that good. The occasional blow-up really frustrates guys because it just ruins your ratios. Your ERA and your WHIP just disappear. And you'll start to say, oh man, next season, I've got to get more pitching. I've got to get pitching early because my staff was terrible. But that's just the nature of staffs. They just fall apart on you, and they're streaky. And, you can't expect too much. You can't overcompensate by going and getting more pitching. You have to get better at the pitchers you take. So we'll get to some segues here. We'll get into some more details. Number 1 is Scherzer. Number 2, DeGrom. DeGrom has arrived. I don't know where he found it, but his velocity ticked up. He went from 28 to 29. He's been sitting 94, 95. And last season, he found something mechanically, and he ticked up to 96. The other 3 offerings are plus. It didn't matter. He didn't have much run support, so his win totals were depressed. But guys can't hit him. And this guy is just a baller. He's a former shortstop. He's got the hair. The Mets are known for just mismanaging stabs. He overcame all those obstacles of being a Mets pitcher. And I really enjoy Mets pitching. And he put together a gem of a season. The ERA, the WHIP, all sparkling. DeGrom's arrived. He's been a Cy Young threat, and he put it all together. He's a competitor. So you can't go wrong with DeGrom this season. Number 3, Garrett Cole. Another guy comes in as a rookie. Whoa, I believe he's a number 1 or number 2 overall draft pick with the Pirates. And it gets this nuance to where different teams like their pitchers to pitch different ways. And different, the Pirates like you to work the zone and throw grounders. And then if you look at the Astros, and this is why I'm pro the whole Astros staff, is they just say, throw your best pitch. If your best pitch is a curveball, throw it 40% of the time. They're into the advanced metrics. They're into really getting the most out of pitchers, and that's what we saw last year when Cole and Verlander both made their way to the Astros. And then these pitchers, they work with each other, they compete with each other, and they create an environment to get better. So Garrett Cole put it all together. The fastball, super hard, 96. The control is there. He had a great season, and he's young enough. There's no reason to think he's going to stop because the Astros are going to keep him right and keep him throwing his best stuff. I think Cole is a no doubt 1A ace at this point. Next, Blake Snell. Blake Snell is going to need a segue. So to find, I had Blake Snell. Blake Snell wasn't a shock to me because we're going to have our top tier aces, but we're going to get down to our up-and-comers that could be aces. This guy's going to go late. People aren't sure. People can't differentiate at this level when you're using the advanced metrics. Go back, check out the video on starting pitcher metrics. You have to know. And because of stuff, the way you can identify these pitchers, I was talking about in hitting to check first half, second half stats. With pitchers, go month to month. Month to month, sort those categories, check your K to B percentage. And you'll see, if you go back last year, Blake Snell, from August to September, was flashing ace stuff. He's always had tremendous K potential. In the minors, tons of Ks. I believe he's heater from the left. The curveball has a massive hook on it, stuff that you can't hit, but he lacked control. And what they did is they moved him around on the rubber. They did some little adjustment. Tampa Bay does have a good pitching coach. Think about Price and other guys that they've turned out of that organization. And it all clicked. And so at the end of last season, you knew that Blake had the stuff to be an ace if he put it all together. And not only did he show that bit of stuff, he came back into the next season with more to offer. His problem is he's in the AL East. That means he's got to go to Toronto. He's got to go to New York. He's got to go to Boston. And I typically just want to stay out of the AL East altogether. The parks are terrible. The lineups are stacked. There's going to be some teams where you're not going to feel that comfortable starting this guy. And if he has a bad game, it could be really bad. As opposed to dropping down and playing the Mets and playing some other teams that don't have a strong lineup that you can get through, and even that has changed a little bit this season. So Blake Snell, he's probably an ace. He's probably here. He's arrived. He dominated the AL East. I think he put up the best ERA potentially ever in that division, and he's 23-24. The stuff is going to continue. Get that Blake Snell. There's going to be an overpay because he was so amazing, but I believe he's going to deliver. Next, Severino. Severino of the Yankees. Same problem as Snell. He's got to be in the AL East. He's got to go to Boston. He's got to go to Toronto. He's got to pitch. His home park is short right field porch, New York Yankee Stadium. So Sev's a little bit of concern. And my concern here is sometimes the high velocity guys, 97, 98. Severino led the league in velocity, so of course I love it. But I've watched so much velocity come and go, Noah Syndergaard of the last 2 years, that maybe there's an injury risk there. How long can he throw that hard? Guys can't throw that hard forever. As they age, they lose velo. But Sevs hasn't aged yet. He showed that his stuff is unhittable. He's got the control. He's going to get the run support. And I love him. The reason that we're a little nervous is because he started to get touched up late last season. So we're already seeing maybe a little, ding in the armor. But we're drafting stuff. We're drafting how these guys are going to come into the season. I think Sevs can make a big statement. The velocity's there to be hard to hit. So let's go back with them. Those are my 1A aces, those 5 guys. Let's talk 1B. Now, this is the thing. I'm calling them 1A, 1B, because 1B, these guys could finish the season 1A. The opinions are going to vary on where you put the next 5 guys I'm about to list, but they are indeed aces. Number 6, Chris Sale. This is Chris Sale. I think he might have had 300 strikeouts, 270. The Ks per 9, he made a decision he didn't want to strike guys out, and then he made a decision, I'm going to start striking guys out, and he was like 11 Ks per 9. He's got Boston behind him. He's wild from the left. The angle comes flying in. The slider, the fastball, he's always had it. The motion looks violent, but he's been able to maintain it his whole career. He hasn't won a Cy Young yet, but we know he has Cy Young stuff. The issue with Sale, we saw a little bit of a shoulder issue at the end of last season. Oh, gosh, a shoulder issue. Terrible. The shoulder is where all the power and the velocity is generated from. And was it just a little bit of fatigue? Did he train and rehab through this injury? Or is this shoulder going to creep up again? Is he going to see his first velo dip? He's got a lot of mileage on the arm at this point. Could be an ace. Could be. I have him as a 1B ace. I think you should trust him too. But you got to know that he's got that little bit of health concern. Number 7, Justin Verlander. So Verlander, he married a model. You can look back at the history. He's always had this stuff. I've got him down in the 1B tier because he plays this mind game with me. He can have a not great season. He can come and go. But then when he comes back, he can lead the league in K to B percentage for the season. His velocity dropped a little bit, but he's been able to adjust. He added a cutter. He's got the pitch mix, and he's with the Astros, and the Astros are going to get the most out of him. My issue with Verlander is just a little bit of that age and a little bit of season-to-season inconsistency that I don't want to pay top-notch. I don't want to pay the top pitcher off the board and get Verlander and see that he was very good or great as opposed to elite next season. And so he just makes me a little nervous. He's 34 because at some point it's going to go. And it's more likely as they get older and they see that age-related decline that he could lose his stuff. We got 2 Indians coming up next. Carlos Carrasco. So, Saris used to have this metric called Arsenal score. It's too bad he's not still putting it out, but he picked certain metrics and he picked certain ways to describe just stuff again. And Carrasco always had that. The problem with Carrasco was injuries. Some of them were his fault. Some of them might have been conditioning issues. Some of them were fluky. Like he took a ball off the shin. He missed a bunch of weeks from that. The other issue when pitchers miss time is that they have to not throw. Let's say it's an elbow or a shoulder. They have to not throw. But then they have to ramp up for stamina. So it takes a regular injury, and then it takes some rehab starts, and then they finally get back. So the injuries are just elongated. Carrasco's got the stuff. He maybe waxed and waned a little bit at the middle of last season, but he's with the Indians. He's going to get run support. The velocity's there. I would trust him. The only issue is he's just that 1 year older, probably 31, and a little bit of injury risk. Corey Kluber. The Klubot. Oh, man. You watch some baseball, and you will realize that the Klubot, he's filthy. He is absolutely filthy. He is so efficient to the plate. He stands there like a statue. And he perfectly, with ultra efficiency, delivers to the plate. Movement, velo, kind of a late bloomer. I mean, people didn't know. The season that he blew up, he was just on the waivers. I mean, he's already a little bit older, and people are starting to devalue him because we think there's a little bit of age-related decline. We're seeing a little tick come off the stuff. But for mechanics, for knowing the game, and for having mound presence, you can't really go wrong with Kluber. I'd give him 1 more year. I don't think the fall-off starts yet. Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola figured it out. The velo's been a little bit down previously from where I like it, 94, but he found it last year, 94, 95, and he just locates that curveball. The curveball has just 12-6 break, and he can just drop it in, and hitters, they see it, and then it, strike, and he'll get called strikes with it. He'll get swing and miss with it. Nola was always an elite control guy coming up through the minors, so he's not going to walk batters, and all we had to see was a little bit of that K upside, and he took that step forward into the ace territory last season. So Nola is a 1B ace. The issue with Nola is just a little bit of health concerns, but you start to see a pattern. I'm saying that with every pitcher that steps on this mound. I mean, they pitch injured. So the health concerns of Nola, the little bit of elbow bulkiness that can kick in, you just have to be aware of it. Just have to know there's a chance. But when you're looking for an ace, in particular, you want to get value, I may not want to pay up for the top guy in a tier, the first 1B like Sale, but if I can pay a little discount or wait in an auction, I would like to get Nola. I trust him to be my ace, my 1A. We drop down to the 1C, and then this group has a little bit more questions than everybody above, but they have the stuff to be more elite than the guys above. These guys could jump Carrasco. If Kluber or Nola take a step back or something happens, these guys could launch themselves into the top. So we can't deny the upside here. These are my 1C aces. There's 6 of them. Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin got paid by the Nats to go over there and pitch next to Scherzer. So the Nats believe in him. The Nats absolutely believe in him. You got to go back a few years to see what happened with Corbin. He breaks onto the scene. He throws maybe 12, 15 games, as a stud. People found him on waivers. Tommy John. Oh, sad. Tommy John. That's going to cost a pitcher at least a year, typically 2. It cost them the year to recover from the surgery, and they're not that good because the control lacks as they try to find the feel again and trust the elbow. But the next year, he comes out healthy, and he showed the ace stuff again. The funny thing with Corbin is the pitch mix. He decided the slider is his best pitch, and he's just throwing it all the time. He's throwing it 40% of the time. He's throwing it more than the fastball. Typically, guys are fastball 45 to 55 to 60% if it's really hard, mixing it in the off speed. But Corbin is just throwing the off speed, mixing in fastball. My issue here is the health of the elbow. Throwing sliders, throwing hard curveballs, it puts more strain on the forearm and on the elbow, and I get a little concerned about Corbin only throwing sliders. But if you look at the numbers, it's one of the best pitches in the league, and guys can't hit it. So he was a lead. He's got to do a league change. He was in Arizona, and he had the humidor, which is nice. That was suppressing some of that hard contact. And he's got to go over to Washington. Again, he's in the NL, so he's not going to see the AL hitters. I think you can trust him. People are going to trust him. He's going to go. You just have to decide if that's your guy. This next guy is my guy, and that's Walker Buehler. In love with Walker Buehler's stuff. Mound presence. Uber prospect comes up, pitches for the Dodgers. Fastball control, high fastball. The strikeouts are a tick below everybody mentioned above on just pure strikeout stuff, but I like the youngster maybe making another jump. The only issues with Walker Buehler is the LA Dodgers babying their staff a little bit. And if he gets a little tired or they want to monitor his innings, he might go on the DL just to keep his innings down. But I love Walker Buehler. I'm going to own multiple shares of Walker Buehler all over the place because I don't think that everybody's bought in as far as I have. And I'm going to need a piece of the kid. I just love to watch him go. Fastball, it may say 95, but it touches 97, 98, 99 when he's got to reach back for a little extra. So, get some Walker Buehler. You'll be happy about it. His teammate, who's made a fall from grace, Clayton Kershaw, and the industry's just divided here. You could be a Clayton Kershaw truther, and you could say, no, I don't care. I don't care that he only threw 120 innings, 160, 130. He's missing innings all the time. Or that his velo dropped from 90 when he had the Heat 95. Now he's like 94, 92, and he's going to have to learn how to pitch at an older age. But Kershaw has multiple Cy Youngs. The back is a problem because I know that once you have a back injury, it doesn't get better. Surgery doesn't fix a back injury, a bulging disc that he might have, and he keeps getting shelved for back injury. He's a big boy. And he's got a little bit of an exotic release. You know, he's always up over the top. He's got huge leg kick. He's got his whole own thing going on, and it's been taxing his body. But maybe he found some kind of miracle trainer. Maybe he's doing his Pilates, and he got the back under control. Because if Kershaw goes 180, 200 innings, you're looking at a top 3 pitcher. But the health is just such a concern that the whole league is starting to devalue Kershaw. A lot of guys aren't willing to take the risk. Dabble if the price is right. He's 1A if healthy, and he's going to be on your DL if the health goes sideways. Bauer of Cleveland. I have Bauer too low, so I'll bump Bauer up later. But Bauer is a pitching savant. He's deep in the game. He's deep into advanced metrics. He does ridiculous pregame workout videos, and he's just building himself as a pitcher. He just keeps putting it together. He keeps making strides each season. I think that he might be one of the lowest injury risks because his training regimen and how much he studies the game is designed to keep his arm fresh, and he gets super warm, and he made the jump. Bauer's an ace. Bauer is an ace. I'm going to own some Bauer. You know, the distance between Bauer and DeGrom is probably going to be luck, umpire selection, and BABIP. So get some Bauer. This is the next pick. I'm going to be wrapping this up here soon. We got 2 guys. I like this guy. I'm going to get a piece because he's going to come cheap, and it's Hernan Marquez of the Colorado Rockies. Marquez, if you were still around in the fantasy baseball playoffs last year, he was filthy in the end of the season. And typically, you don't want to own Colorado starters. It's never worked. It hasn't worked for Jon Gray. I keep going back for more, but Jon Gray hasn't been a good safe pick. So Marquez, 23, maybe he's special. Maybe he has special stuff because he was just exceptional. 10K, 12K strikeout games. Didn't matter where he was. He could pitch in Colorado. I think Marquez has to be taken seriously, and he's not yet. So he's going to be my early kind of second ace. Mix him in there and just hope it keeps going. I mean, people won't be on him because it took him towards the end of the season to figure it out. And the last guy on this list, and I'm conflicted because for not wanting to take pitchers early, I kept doing it, and I kept doing it for this guy, and that's Noah Syndergaard, another Mets pitcher. But here's the point about velocity being unsustainable. Yeah, he was 99. He was 100 for a while. And then he said he wanted to bulk up, and he lifted too much, and he comes out in a start, and I'm watching it, and he grabs underneath his armpit. Oh, no, what did he do? And then he throws another pitch, and he just shakes his head, and he's done. And I think he tore a lat or something terrible from underneath his arm, and everyone was like, why are the Mets doing this? So he misses that season. And I think he comes back for a start or two, and I get back in again. I go, I love Thor. Give me some of that 100 velocity and 4-pitch mix. I'm back in again. I take him over Severino, which was a mistake. And then his finger goes like a tendon in his finger because he's just throwing too hard. So I don't know. How many times can I let Syndergaard burn me? Maybe I'll do it again. Maybe I'll do it again this season. I'll get in again. I'll get in for the velocity because I think when it comes together, he does have Cy Young stuff. But the health has just pushed him down. 1C starter. Those are my starters. Those are the top aces. They're undeniably aces. I've got some stuff. I've got guys deeper here, guys that could jump up, that could do it, but they're not no doubters like those 16 guys. Guys that you've got to get in on. And then mix them in with your hitters. I'm going to start bringing these guys up, and I'm going to decide how good. Honestly, I might just keep all the hitters where they are for now, and then I go over and get aces on my one list. And so that just makes sure that I got all the bats, all these pitchers. And this is what I mean about somebody's top 100 just being ridiculous because we're already 40 or 50 players, and I haven't touched mid-tier hitters, mid-tier pitchers. Obviously, there's no closers involved in this, but you've got to really get that top 100 tight. Stick with it. Hit me with a like. Hit a comment if you want me to add on something. Shout out to my subscriber. What? Let's go. You're going to the playoffs. You're going to the playoffs. You follow this, you're going to the playoffs. I went to the playoffs in 10 out of 10 leagues last year. Getting better. I'm getting better this season. There was stuff I did last season that I'm getting better this season. I'm going to share with you. We're going to dominate auction drafts. Daily Jaylee at Twitter.